I wasn't going to let that zero. Remember last week, Dimetre, when that zero hung on for like 5 or 6 seconds, it like sits at zero and like there's silence.
Yeah.
And silence.
It was awful.
And silence. And then all of a sudden it comes back. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to end it early. Doesn't matter. We finished with the rave dance anyway. Craig G is here live with my man Dimetre Alexiou. This is a program that we call Canadian as Fuck right here on Revolution Radio Canada. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As always, we greatly appreciate it. This, of course, will be in podcast form. It will be up on the air tomorrow. We are super, super, super stoked to have a fellow with us, and Dimetre is going to do a massive intro in just a couple of seconds. But first, Dimetre, if you could do us a favor, please, the acknowledgement.
Canadian as Fuck would like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today. While we meet tonight on a virtual platform, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations, to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and cultures, and to try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration.
Thank you, my friend. Greatly appreciated as always. Dimetre, take it away.
All right. So we have with us today the drummer extraordinaire of one of the best bands on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. Okay,
that's a lot of pressure, man.
Well, yeah, and I have tickets to their show on Thursday. Okay, so anyway, this is we have Cola, full name Colanthony Humphrey, and he is the drummer of the OBGMs, which stands for the Ooh Baby Gimme Mores. Is it Ooh Baby Gimme Mores or Oh Baby Gimme Mores?
The Ooh Baby Gimme Mores.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And they're playing the Monarch Tavern.
Yes.
Which I don't understand. I don't understand how that building is going to still be standing come Friday morning. But
we've had discussions about it, actually. So yeah, we just saw our homies, the Effins, play there, and we're just like, how is this gonna work? And we don't know. But we'll figure it out.
You have no choice. You have no choice but to figure it out.
We have no choice. As long as everyone can safely get out of there at the end of the night, I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Good call.
But
will I be okay? I don't know.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, like, it's sold out. It's December 8th. It's gonna be insane. Like, I know that for sure.
But for people in Toronto who have affection for the Monarch Tavern, you might want to visit it the next couple days, because it might not be there at the end of the week.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a wild one. I promise you that. And super excited for it. It's funny too, because like we're throwing this with one of the first promoters who ever put us on, Dan Burke. Surprise, his birthday is the very next day on the 9th. So just a little fun fact. And we just wanted to put the show together for the homies. We've been on the road, like, it feels like, for the past 3 years straight. Like last year was a really, really big touring year, and then this year we did a lot of touring, a lot of running around, a lot of hopping around the continent, and we just wanted to do one more for Toronto, and Monarch opened its doors, and here we are.
Good for you.
Does all this touring, like, do you get a lot of time to write while you're touring, or what's the dynamic in the band while you're on the road? Do you have much creativity?
So the thing is like, when we're on the road, we are working. So we are driving, we drive ourselves, we are advancing everything ourselves. Like, we do everything ourselves. So when we're on the road, there's actually no time to write. It's all time used to either be resting or driving, or catching sleep, like
getting ready for the next gig. Yeah,
exactly. Or setting up, playing, like, whatever. Like, it's only the four of us. So with that being said, we write when we get back.
Okay. Wow. So you said it's the four of you. Okay. So the band is Denzel McFarlane.
Yes.
Lead vocals and rhythm guitar, or?
Yes.
and then you're on drums.
Yes.
And then you got Joe.
Yes.
And
Joseph Brosnan.
Joseph Brosnan, he's bass.
Yeah, he's the bass.
And then you added a guy. You're back to being a quartet like you used to be.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, you went deep. Yeah.
so somebody told me the new guy's name and I forgot. And I even saw him last year at the Queen Elizabeth Theater when you opened for Death from Above.
That's right.
And I can't remember his name, and it's driving me
Simon Outfit.
Simon who?
Outfit.
And he's lead guitar?
Lead guitar. Yeah.
All right.
He's one of the best guitarists I've ever seen.
And he has a gorgeous mane of hair.
Oh my goodness. It just makes me jealous. Absolutely jealous. It's so funny. It's so funny. I cut my hair last year before we went on the tour with Pup and DFA and Frank Carter. And I cut my hair because I have a young child, and on the nanny cam I had seen the top of my head, and it just looked like LeBron James's head, and I was just like, nah, I am not trying to hang on to this. Let me just get rid of it. So I buzzed it off. So,
wow!
And
that's
Simon has taken the crown.
Okay.
I will say Dimetre actually has a fantastic head of hair, Cola. I do not.
I'm looking at you.
Mine's getting buddy. It's patchy in the front, and I've got the ring on the top. Like there's some days.
Yeah.
So I've worked in retail in the past, kind of thing, where like there's a security camera behind me, and I look at it, I'm like, oh god.
Oh yeah.
Just get rid of it, Craig. Just get rid of it. But I'm holding on to what I've got left. So
anyway. Because you have hair that can it falls forward.
It does.
Mine didn't fall forward, right? So it looked even more ridiculous. And then I just kept saying no. And then I saw it, and I was like, I will not be LeBron James.
And then you saw the LeBron thing, got it.
Yeah, no.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So one thing that I learned about you guys that I didn't really know was that you and Den started out in 2007 as a hip-hop production duo.
Yes. I would even say before that, to be honest with you. So we met battling, sending beats back and forth. Over the internet. These are the early days, MSN, MSN Messenger and all that.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. So we were sending tracks back and forth, and then we knew each other because both of our sisters were friends in high school, and that's how we met, our older sisters. And then we met, and then we were making beats, making tracks, and then we noticed everybody and their mom was rapping at that time. And we were just like, you know what? We got to do something different. Denz in particular was like, we're starting a rock band. And I was like, hell no. And then,
this is amazing.
Yeah. And then, I started stealing CDs from him. One of the earliest ones was Death from Above. That was
really?
One of them. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix.
I did not know that they were that early an influence on you guys.
Oh yeah, I would say probably they were the reason that we went two-piece at the start. The Carps was also another huge band for us, that we were absolutely insane about. And Jamal has become a close friend of ours as well. And so has Death from Above, ironically, all these years later, which is crazy. Which is so crazy to me, even to this day, to think about, wow, all these people that I used to look up to, I could call, you know what I mean? Just to hang out, simply. It's the coolest thing. Anyway, but yeah, that's how we started out. I started listening. And then also we're from a couple of neighborhoods that back in the day, you couldn't listen to rock in public like that.
Where are you guys from?
So we're both from Toronto. He's from Jane and Emmett, which is actually not far from where I'm from, which is Keela Eglinton, York Square.
Yeah.
And it's just like the circles we were around, you couldn't openly listen to rock. And
funny. Okay.
You know what I mean? But as time goes on, you're just like, you know what? Fuck that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so we started the band. We went through probably, I kid you not, 20 different member auditions, a bunch of different members. There's been so many iterations before it was just the two of us. And then we just went forward with that. Eventually we end up running into Joe and Jem, Jemuel, who's still a friend of the band but is no longer in the band. Jem played keys, Joe played bass. And
but even before Joe joined the band, like you listen to Interchorus and you guys still.
Oh my God!
Like, well, you gave away.
I told you he's a nerd.
You gave away Interchorus for free on Bandcamp. It's still up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Interchorus is still available on Bandcamp for free. You know,
that's hilarious. It's funny too because like now I kind of listen back to it like with cringing ears.
I still think it rocks.
It's fantastic. Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Like listening to it though, like, and a lot of people who knew us back then, I think they knew even by listening to it, something special was happening. We just didn't quite figure it out yet then. Like, and at least in our opinions, but we're also our hardest critics. Like no one's gonna judge us harder than us. So
yeah.
You sound really tough on yourselves.
Well, like once again, like I'm not going to take away from the fact that I do believe at that time, listening to those records, something definitely special was happening, and you could hear it, you could see it live. Like if you look at our old live videos, I don't know if you have, like when it was just the two of us, like if you can find them, like there was something that we were doing that was very correct. So like we just kept going, kept trying to figure it out, kept trying different things, tried to run away from music. Like we both tried, and you can't scratch that itch, man. That itch just keeps coming back.
100%.
We're just chasing that high. So yeah.
So sorry,
go ahead, Craig. Right.
I just wanted to ask really quickly, if you don't mind. Sorry, Dimetre. I just was wondering in regards to the sort of the switch from kind of hip hop to the rock thing. Mm-hmm. You were talking about some of the influences that you guys had.
Yeah.
But there's still all sorts of amazing, wonderful, genres of music out there that you could still tap into. You could tap into, I mean, let's name them all. There's a million different alternative rock genres.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
It's kind of endless with rock.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? It's
with rock, but also too. So if you weren't going to do I think for me personally speaking, one of the because I'm a huge funk music fan, right? Like
me too.
Massive funk music fan. Parliament and James Brown and everybody. So
George Clinton is my favorite.
Honestly, like. So, we have drumming to talk about, my friend. So, one of George Clinton's drummers, Dennis Chambers.
Yes,
I had a private lesson with him.
What?
Yeah, I had a.
How did you get that?
I'll tell you about it in a second. So, anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Oh, and by the way, I found a picture of art stars on the internet, and I'm going to put them up in just a second here. So, I'm wondering, like, I just find it very interesting that you gravitated towards rock instead of, say, soul or R&B or pop, you know what I mean? Like, I just find that really interesting. Was there something in that the two of you were just like, this is the direction that we have to take, or was it, this is what people expect of us? Right. Let's just flip the coin over and say, no, this is what we're doing now.
Well, when we started playing instruments, well, I mean, I'd been playing drums my whole life, just from church and stuff like that. A typical black musician story, But Den's learned how to play the guitar like as I met him. And the original intention was to kind of lean towards NERD. And then like all these CDs just kept like coming into our hands, and we were just like, turn that amp up a little more. Like, you know what I mean?
Turn up the distortion.
Yeah, turn that, and then when you really, really look at the bare bones of it, if you look at like the most aggressive rap, the most aggressive punk, it all has very, very similar energy. You understand what I'm saying? So it was kind of a no-brainer to just be like, yeah, we're a rock band now.
Well, what you just said makes me think of your collaboration with the Snotty Nose Rez Kids.
Oh yeah,
on Sink or Swim, and like. So it's got like that sort of Run DMC, Anthrax and Public Enemy type of energy.
Yeah. You're talking my language. I love those old records, man.
So like Like, so, well, how did that collaboration come about?
So they had reached out to us, and they're like, can you guys like remix like one of these? And like, we're like, hell yeah. Me and Denz hit the studio immediately, started writing, we got it down, brought Simon into the fold. And then it literally took almost nothing to bang out. Like, once again, I think what hip hop taught us is that songs can be cranked out like in no time if you're like just in tune. If you're in tune with it right away, boom. Like, and that's exactly what happened with that record. We loved it. Just John is actually like an old friend. Just John is from the hood too. So like we know Just John pretty well. And Snotty knows we've been fans for a long time, especially for the fact that like we've been following them for a while. And then we were just like, oh, all we got to do is just make this more aggressive than it already is. And that's exactly what we came through and did. And then
you really did.
Oh, thank you. And then we got to perform it live when we got back from Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes tour last year. We got to do it live, and that was probably one of my favorite just moments of 2022. Just
that must have been amazing.
It was madness. So yeah, very happy about that.
So something that Denz is quoted as saying is that this is a black-fronted punk band, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Do you share that sense of importance with him?
Absolutely. The thing is like, so it's the reason why, like, Beastie Boys is one of the highest selling rap groups of all time, right? I mean, they were also a punk band, let's be real, but they're one of the highest selling rap groups of all time. You think that was an accident? They're not the best rappers. Like, when people talk about like their top 5 of all dead or alive of all time rap groups, I've never heard anybody say Beastie Boys. Not because they're not great, but it's because people don't see themselves in them. So, and like the people who kind of hold the torch in rap music, like are generally black, right? Unless, of course, we're talking about Eminem, and then there's even debates about that now. Like, I'm not gonna go into all of that, but the thing is like people gravitate to relate with. So the thing is like I told you earlier, like back in the day, you'd get beat up if you were caught, like, you know what I mean, playing Smashing Pumpkins, 9 Inch Nails, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just was the energy of what we were around. It just was. But when you start to see faces there, like it makes a little bit more sense to the people who may not necessarily understand or gravitate towards it right away, right? And then it's hard to be what you can't see. So we're doing this for the kids that, like, you know what I mean? We were and didn't see a lot of ourselves around back in the day. Like, it's only recently that we've been going to all these shows and we're like, holy shit, we're not the only black people there.
Yeah.
It's
really like other than you guys, like from original punk, I can only think of Bad Brains.
You see what I'm saying? Bad Brains, like Dead Kennedys, like there was one member in there.
There's also there was that metal band, early sort of metal band was called Death.
Death is another one, but Death was kind of like
musician.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like, but even Death was buried. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were like, and even though she's not rock, but like you look at someone like Betty Davis, who was doing things as wild as like Madonna got major credit for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just the nature of what was happening. And unfortunately, there wasn't enough Tina Turners. There wasn't enough Betty Davises. There wasn't enough Bad Brains. There wasn't enough, there wasn't enough of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. So us being there is just like, and now our younger homies are like, yo, you really you guys really carried the torch. And like, I'm just glad that we're still able to do it. You know what I mean? Live in Color is another one,
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And it's just like, unfortunately, they're not as like I would say Bad Brains gets a lot of love and respect, but like I remember when we performed at Afropunk in it was either 2014, 2015, or 2016. And there was 2 major stages, and there was a basketball court stage. And that's the stage that we were on, and they headlined that stage. And it's just like they deserve to be lauded as like, you know what I mean? Amongst all, because they're really the birth of hardcore if you really, really want to get down to the bare bones of like what it is. And it's just like, but it's just like who else was there to like help support them and like make this a regular thing so that when we went to shows, people didn't just see us as the resident drug dealers, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that used to happen all the time, every single shows that we would play at, like, you know what I mean? And we would approach people like, you know what I mean? Or people would approach us asking for drugs. And it's just like, no, we're about to be on stage in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? It just is what it is.
Sucks so bad.
Please tell me you slapped the shit out of them.
See, no? I've shoved heavily a few of them, but I've never ever gotten the opportunity to draw more attention to myself, more negative attention.
right. But, Understood.
But, you know, it's just one of those things. So us now still doing it, finally getting like a little bit of recognition in this city in particular, this country in particular, finally, like, and even still not enough, like, or even say like getting nominated for a Juno. That was a big deal too. And it's just like, it's taken way too long. But I'm happy that we're still going. I'm happy that we got new music that's coming out next year. I hope you're very excited.
Can't wait.
We're very excited too. So, and I'm happy that now it's not weird to see a Black person at a show.
This is the whole thing too. Is I've seen with my daughter. Yeah, I saw Weezer and the Arctic Monkeys. Both of them at the Budweiser stage.
Another huge influence of ours.
There's black fans everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Like it's not uncommon. It's just you just kind of look around. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. White, Chinese, black. Yeah. You know,
everybody.
Indian. Like doesn't
everybody?
That's one of the wonderful things I love about it, and I think that that's one of the best things that has sort of come about for me. And I'm wondering because this is an interesting thing for probably a band like yours is you've enjoyed the success of both being played on streaming services as well as on radio. Yeah. So would you say that because of the fact that you've been played on streaming services and you're essentially a mostly Black alternative rock band being played alongside Arctic Monkeys, being played alongside The Killers, being played alongside Ani DeFranco or whoever, that it's kind of streaming has helped or hindered, would you say?
Streaming has absolutely helped. It's weird because like there's all these weird things happening with streaming now. I'm sure you guys have heard the announcements of what's happening next year in terms of how Spotify is, in particular, they're the biggest streamer. So of course they would be the first on Front Street with it. But like, it's just like how they're changing the model of how they're earning and stuff like that, or how artists earn. The one thing that streaming has done really, really well is it has moved the music really fast. Like it has moved it to people that we would be trying to get their attention, like in the States and all that. And now because of the algorithm, it has actually pushed our music into places where it wouldn't normally be, countries that it wouldn't normally be. Like that's how we were able to even get, like, you know what I mean, the Frank Carter tour and be able to do all these countries in Europe and stuff like that. And like, you know, even right down to getting a lot of play in Mexico and getting a lot of play in Australia. Like and I'll be honest with you, streaming helped way more to get the music out to people because like for radio, it took so long for our songs to get to radio. And I still don't quite understand the game. Like people want to talk about gatekeepers. I would say that's probably one of the last like gates to be unkept.
Yeah.
You know,
you're probably right. Yeah. Like I don't think
Whoa!
that album. I've never heard a song from this album on the radio.
What?
Never heard a song.
How
from
did
your
you
baby.
get that?
Oh, Death from Above show.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right. We had some left. Yeah.
This and a T-shirt.
Holy.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I love you guys.
Oh man, we love you, Dimetre.
but you guys, like, the band apparently went through a dark period after this album came out.
Yes. The band did go through a dark period. So I've tried quitting music before, and it never worked out for me at all. And then Denz stepped away. I think once again the pressure of music, the pressure of life, and like it's funny too because art and music kind of just get wrapped up into this. It's all one. You know what I'm saying? Like you all could, you both of you, Craig, Dimetre, you both can attest to this.
Yeah.
Music is who you are. So it's how you live your life.
100%.
So it's all wrapped into one.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he stepped away for like quite a bit of time. And it was to the point where I remember I had to have a very serious chat over some drinks with him. And he's just like, if you're here to talk about music, let's just cancel it. And I was like, all right. So about this music thing, and then we started, and then we started again, and then we're making it, made the record, got Dave Schiffman to mix and master and produce. It was awesome. Well, he didn't master, but he mixed and produced, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's it. That's the album. That's the end.
This is required listening, people.
Yes.
You know, so this is just top of the line modern punk. Like,
Thank you.
And I remember the first song I heard from this was All My Friends.
Yeah.
And I was not ready for something so great. It was like it reminded me of Blue Album Weezer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it really, really did.
As soon as Denz hears that, I think he's gonna shed a tear. You know what I mean? That was a very important album for him too.
Yeah, but like I completely hear that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I've heard, like, when Craig mentioned Weezer before, you said that was an influence.
Arctic Monkeys, Weezer too. But like Arctic Monkeys to an even like higher, like Arctic Monkeys, like DFA, Weezer definitely. Like I mean, like I remember when Hash Pipe first came out, and I was just like, "What is this?" Like everybody was like, Billy Talent is another big influence.
And you toured with them,
yeah. We just did a couple of dates with them in September and October. Yeah,
love them.
Yeah, it was. Oh, dude, those guys they're the best, man. Like it's incredible that when we played the Brooklyn show with them, first of all, it was ram-packed. Like it was insane. The fact that they said that they hadn't been to the States for 8 years and they're still able to do a major room like the Warsaw and completely have it rammed, like, is insane. Like I love that. It's a great thing to see that they're still killing it. Mm-hmm. They sound more amazing than ever. And they're just the sweetest guys too. That's another thing that I think we are really fortunate about, to encounter all these different bands, and they're not the classic rock star asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like just self-important and all this and that. They're sweet people. These are great people. So like,
I don't know if that's a Canadian thing. It just seems to me I mean,
be.
we could be. I could be making a gigantic stereotype here.
No, you're not at all, actually, Dimetre. I'll tell you why. As a matter of fact, the great Geddy Lee talked about this when he was talking about Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart, of course, being in Rush.
Yeah.
And he was like, Dan Rather asked him a really great question. He said, why is it that you think you guys have managed to be together for so long and not want to kill one another, essentially? And he's like, because I think at the core, I've worked with people who are considerate.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that almost might be a curse of being Canadian. But if that's a curse of being Canadian, then that's a great thing.
That's
right?
a great curse to have.
But I'm also thinking of like long-standing bands that have had the same lineup for forever, like Sloan, like The Hip. It's like they just seem like level-headed people, like very little, very non-intrusive egos and everything. Work as a team.
Yeah, and that's what it requires too, right? Like it requires, in order to reach any sort of success, you have to work as a team. It's the only way. It's the only way. Like, and I would say, not that we weren't working as a team before, but like Denz will attest to this. Like, we only recently learned how to like be a band. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that, like, I mean, Denz is my brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like Joe is my brother. Simon is my brother. Like, they're basically family, and but now we know how to be a band, and that's why things have been lifting off in the way that they have. Like, because we learned how to finally get it right. Like, because there were times, like, I would say, like, we had a lot of buzz 2009, and then it dropped off. And then we added Joe and Jem, and then in 2014 to 2016, we had really, really good buzz, and then that dropped off. And then we're like, then we finally figured it out. And now, like, from 2020 till now, like, things have been moving the way that they should.
How was the Polaris Prize whirlwind for you?
So the Polaris thing was really, really cool. It's, first of all, it's great to be recognized, by like an institution, like for your work, to the point where I know that, like you mentioned Humber earlier, Craig, to the point where, like, we're being brought up, like, in classes, like, at Humber College, which I think is insane. Like, that was, like, when I'm meeting students and they're like, oh, I know about your band because we found you in school, and then I've been listening ever since. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, to be brought up in music class. Anyway, then when we reached the top 10, we actually thought we might win because, like, okay, how do they judge what wins? It's generally the story, right? It's generally, like, there's definitely a little bit of identity politics in there as well. And the music, right? And we're like, how could we not win? So I was moving out of my old place into my current place, and we set up we set up the computer, we set up the we were like getting ready to win, and then they said our name wrong, and we knew from then that we didn't win. From
How did they say your name?
They just messed up the acronym. They usually say the OBGYNs, like, or mess it up, or the OBMGs, or we're just like, oh, it's over.
something you would see in a hospital, like,
I mean, like I'm saying, like,
wow,
yeah. So from then we knew it wasn't, and then from there we were like, man, all these awards are whatever. Like, shout out to, I can't remember who won.
Cadence Weapon.
Shout out to Cadence Weapon. We're fans of him too, and we're fans of all the winners, like, of Polaris. But it's just like, when it comes down to it, to bring hip hop back up again, Drake has had beef with the Grammys for a long time, and I remember when he won that Grammy and he went up on stage and he's like, if you got 1,000 people rocking with you in your city, you don't need one of these. And I understand what he means. I get what he means. Like,
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
the Grammys suck. First of all,
listen, it's crazy. It's crazy because, like, if they want to give us one, I'll still take it. We'll still take it. but it's just like, unless it's all subjective, unless it's the Billboard Awards, because the Billboard Awards is solely about numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least there, you know what it's about. But anywhere else, it could be about anything else, right? Like, I mean, we've seen the Grammys do it a number of times. Like, I remember when Esperanza Spalding, who's an amazing bassist and an amazing jazz bassist and singer, I remember when she won Best New Artist over Justin Bieber, who had the biggest record in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is this based on? Like, that's the problem I have. They're not consistent on what this is based on. And then, what's his name? When Macklemore won over Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Like, you know what I mean? And it was just like,
and then Macklemore apologized for it.
and then he apologized for winning. It's just like, dude, win your trophy and go.
Even Kendrick was like, dude, don't, like, just
let
it go. Just move on. It's okay. I'm gonna win my awards. I'm gonna release To Pimp a Butterfly. Everything will be fine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
So like, once again, and then even with the Junos, I mean, we see it time and time again. Like the people that they're honoring and stuff like that. Like, and I don't have any beef with anybody. But it's just like some of the people that they keep congratulating and stuff like that. I remember one year when Daniel Caesar was getting really huge, like everybody who saw it knew it was important, and it was just like Matthew and Jordan were nominated for Producer of the Year, and they gave it to Diana Krall. Diana Krall is a fantastic pianist, right? But it's just like, she is the Junos. Yeah. Just let somebody new have it.
Like last year, like Avril Lavigne was nominated for how many awards, and I'm like, Avril Lavigne.
Yeah,
it's 2020. It's 2023. Like, you know, so
it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? To the point where everybody who has reached international fame, like, they'll be nominated for an award and not even be there. Like, because they're just like, why am I showing up to that? Why? For what? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I got a lot of thoughts. I'll probably get in trouble for this interview too.
Well,
no, it's all good. We can beep this out if you want. It's all good.
But Craig, you probably have a whole bunch of drum questions for Cola.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, I've been talking.
No, it's all well. That's why we got you, my friend. So we, an old friend of ours, Brian Hogue, from a band in Burlington called Conduit. He says, "Who is this guy? I like his vibe. I'd work with this dude any day." And I told him exactly who you are, and he's like, he's fucking awesome. Anyway, my friend Brian Hogue has a band from Burlington called Conduit, and they're an alternative industrial band, and they're fucking awesome. And he has a record coming out soon. Brian, when's the record coming out, brother? Really want to see the record. Anyway, we can't wait for it. Anyway,
please send it to me when it does. Please.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I'll send it to you for sure. Yeah, Brian's a solid dude. We interviewed our friend from the Spoons,
Gordy Depp.
Gordy Depp. We interviewed him, and Brian is a huge fan of Gord Depp. So we were like, you got to jump on with this. Anyway, so here we go. Now, this is an absolutely fucking terrible picture, but this is right. Okay, so this is this is. I think that what was that? Was it Glamour Shots that used to use these backdrops, like these backgrounds, right? Like back in the 80s and 90s, right? Some of the worst backgrounds you've ever seen in your life.
Man.
That is a set of Art Star 2s from 1993.
Yeah.
Now, you play a set of these types of drums. You play a set of Tama Art Stars.
Yeah,
now,
I play Art Stars.
I have got a wicked story for you. So with this drum kit, I sold probably 100 of these drum kits over the years, because I used to work at Just Drums when it was the old store on at Yonge and Finch.
Oh, wow.
I worked at the old store. I worked at Steve's Music down on Queen Street.
Oh, nice.
I worked at Cosmo Music up in Richmond Hill. I worked at Walters Music, a couple of other different places.
All
Basically,
the art, all the music stores.
Essentially, honestly, Cola, the only place, this was actually a running joke, and my friend Brian that I was just talking about, he actually worked at Long and McQuaid. I never worked at Long and McQuaid. It was the only place I never worked. I worked at every other drum store. Anyway, I sold so many of these drum kits.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the name of him now for the life of me. I can't remember his name. Is it Jerry Mercer from April Wine? Anyway, sold a few of these drum kits. Now, this was also the type of drum kit, too. It was Tama Art Stars and Tama Superstars that Neil Peart from Rush used to play.
Really?
So so he used to play a combination. He used to play a combination. So there's a very famous cover. I think it's 2112, where it's kind of a guy that's standing like this, but it's the back of him, and there's like a star in front of him, and it's
2112.
2112, right? So it's the cover of 2112. That was on Neil's bass drum for years, even when they were touring like Moving Pictures and Presto and Signals and all these different records.
Right.
He was playing a cherry red Superstar Tama drum set. The other person who was very famous for playing Art Stars and Superstars was, of course, Stuart Copeland from The Police.
No.
And so he's a huge that's all he's ever played all his life.
I've just been watching some Copeland videos. That guy is he's a monster. Crazy.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
So really quickly, I've got the story for you. I was going to tell. I promised I would tell you on the air. I met Dennis Chambers, George Clinton's drummer, Steely Dan's drummer, James Brown's drummer. Like he's played with Jean-Luc Ponty. He's played with everybody, right?
Yeah.
John McLaughlin. He was John McLaughlin's drummer for a long, long time. So anyway, I had a chance to have a drum lesson with him, and one of the things that was great about Dennis was because Dennis is one of those gospel chop players, right? So he's got like crazy chops. He's actually one of the guys that really originated the whole like gospel chops thing, right? So everybody that went in before him was like, I want to learn this lick and I want to learn that lick and stuff. And I was the last lesson of the day, and he was playing with a French bassist by the name of Alain Caron, who was in a fusion band back in Montreal back in the 80s and early 90s. It was called UZEB. Amazing bass player, like protege, like the 6-string bass player, just one of these like crazy bass players, right? So anyway, he was doing a show with Alain Caron the next day in Montreal. So I'm the last lesson of the day at Just Drums, and we sit down, and he says, "So what do you want to learn?" And I said, I got to be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of your work with George Clinton, with James, with Steely. When I sit down behind the drums, I want people's heads to do this, right? And he looked at me and he said, that is the coolest thing I've heard anybody say come into this room all day. Everybody just wants to learn. Everybody just wants to learn like and all that stuff, right? And I was like, look, I mean, John Bonham, Led Zeppelin is my god, right? I can with the best of them, right? That's fine, but like I really want to learn how to groove. Yeah. He taught me some of these. Honestly, my friend, some of the sickest grooves, like the thickest pocket you've ever seen in your entire life. Dude, and he's just the nicest guy. The lesson was supposed to be an hour long. We jammed together for an hour and 45 minutes. And the only reason that we stopped is because the owner of the store came down, knocked on the door and said, Dennis, I have to have you at Toronto Pearson Airport in 45 minutes because your plane leaves in 2 hours. And he's like, man, I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Honestly, he was such a super sweet guy. Now, if I just really quickly, because we're interviewing you, you're the guy here. I don't want to take up too much of this stuff, but this is a crazy story. Just a really quick postscript to the story. Basically what ended up happening was 6 years later, I was working at Just Drums as an employee. We did a drum lesson with Dennis Chambers, and he comes walking in the back door and he says hi to my friend Danny Brown and a couple of other guys. Hey, how you doing? I'm Dennis. And he looks at me and he reaches out his hand and he goes, where do I know you from? And I was like, I had a lesson with you downstairs in this building. He was like, I remember that lesson. It was awesome. Anyway, so he remembered me 6 years later. I was like, Dennis Chambers remembered me. Mic drop. Anyway.
So you know what's crazy? So Just Drums, they moved to Leslie and Shepherd area, right?
Yeah, Shepherd and Willowdale. Yeah.
So I am part of a drum line now. And because I'm part of a drum line, one of the heads of the drum line teaches at Just Drums. So it's just like the connection.
No way.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So I'm floored right now. It's great. Anyway, funny enough, so I was just chilling with these like with the drum line this weekend, and we were just talking about like all these great drummers and whatnot, and this goes back to what you were talking about with Dennis Chambers. The one thing that matters more than like a million rolls, like learning how to do some crazy like triplet paradiddle, whatever, is groove. The groove is the most important. And even when you talk about like the anatomy of a song,
that's our job. Our job is to make people move, like to make people feel something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotta say though, your opening to Who the Fuck Are You? That the drumming at the opening of Who the Fuck Are You?
Yeah.
I always like when I have people in the car.
Yeah.
And I just wait, listen to the drums on this, and then I just start that up and pump it.
No.
They're like, holy fuck, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I personally like love the drumming on that song. I love the drumming on the whole album, but there was something that Denz allowed me to kind of like be as free as possible on that particular record.
Yeah.
That song sits with me in it like right here in my heart. So and like because when it comes like once again when it comes to songwriting, like a lot of the times like you think about the anatomy of the song and the groove is the most important, and that one was like probably the weirdest one that we have on the record, like that, and probably Kara knows probably the weirdest like drum beats like on the entire record.
Okay, Kara knows. Yeah, I can see how that can be different. Yeah,
and
triggered
straight punk, like
Yeah.
So it's just like and me personally, like the kind of person I am, the kind of listener I am, I listen out for probably I like the experiment. I like the danger of experimenting. You know what I mean?
Stepping outside the norm,
Stepping outside of the norm, because that's where I feel like you create moments like this, where like that's the first song that you brought up, like or maybe the second, like After All My Friends. But it's a conversation piece. You know what I mean? It's something that you talk about later. And that's what I love about music, right? That's what always makes me like dig deeper into like how could we make this crazier? Anyway.
So we can expect more experimentation when the new music comes out.
Oh yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there that I hope you like. The songs are big, like they're big songs. Like I can't wait. Like
well before we play Same, which is still your latest song, came out almost a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Almost a year ago, actually.
Well, I don't know. The date on the streaming service says June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, so is that that's
June 2022.
Oh, snap. Yeah. So that's also the other thing, right? Talking about writing and being on the road and stuff like that. When you're on the road and you're kind of doing everything yourself, like we're not, like, I wouldn't say we're big enough that we have like, you know, a fleet of tour buses following us and stuff like that. Not yet. But when you're on the road, you're working, like, and you're getting everything done. So because of that, like when we get home, we write. And then not only that, but it's you want to get back in the studio, and then like there's a whole back end to the music industry that that we're still like working out, like in terms of getting it right so that there's always music coming out, feeding the machine essentially. You know? And like we finally got, well, we've always had our foot on the gas, but it's just like how do we do this again and again and again? Like we got so many songs, we got so many demos too. Like Denz alone has probably well over 200 demos. I definitely like, you know what I mean? Like of different ideas, different songs. Me, I have like 40. I'm sure Simon has a million and Joe. But like, so it's not like we're never writing. We're always writing. But like to get an album,
to get in the studio,
to get the right person to mix it, to get the right person to master it, to get the right partners on your side to ensure that when you put it out, it doesn't just like fall on deaf ears. Like there's so many components to this music industry that I think a lot of artists don't even have their finger on, maybe because like they have a manager that does that, or they have the label that does that, or they got this PR guy that, like, we're very much so in it. Like, so like we are working these things out.
You guys are true indie.
Yeah, we're for real do it yourself. Like, so you know what I mean? There hasn't been something that has come out that we haven't had like a major say in. And anytime there was something that, there hasn't been anything. You know what I mean? Everything is us. So, yeah.
So you're playing the Monarch Tavern on Friday.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be there along with DJ Forces, and we'll see if we're alive the next day.
It's gonna be insane. I promise you that.
And then you're opening for Good Kid at the Danforth Music Hall on May 10th.
Yes, we just announced that we're doing a little run with them, a Canadian run. We want to do the American run with them too. Even if we're first of 3, we don't care. But we'll let the booking agent handle that part, unless we have to strong arm somebody and and kind of, you know what I mean.
And then Le Studio TD. All right, Le Studio TD in Montreal on May 31st.
Yeah.
And so my good friend Mathieu is gonna, I hope he gets to that one, because he loves you guys too.
Oh, thank you. And shout out to Good Kid, by the way. Those are actually our good friends. They came up just like us, and not only I love their ascent, and not to get too much into this, but you want to talk about the industry, right? These guys did it completely without the industry, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't get any Spotify playlisting. They didn't get any radio love. They didn't get any love from any like outlet. None of these guys. They found their people. They found their fans, and they were able to do, like, I remember when they did like 1 million plays with no help. And it's just like, that's
awesome.
Yeah, that is unheard of. And now all these people want to kind of hop on the hype train, but it's like these guys have been popular amongst their crew. And then Denz had gone to their show because, Denz had gone to their show. He's like, I've never seen a group of fans that were as nice as Good Kid fans. So
wow.
Yeah, so we're super excited to get on those shows with them, like, and play with the homies, you know? So
that's awesome.
Very excited.
Well, thank you so much, Cola, for hanging out with us for this past almost an hour.
My friend, I could literally talk to you for another hour, like solid, for just about gear alone. Gear and music, easily.
What kind of pedal are you using, by the way?
Oh, it's part of the Yamaha kit, so it's a Yamaha. I would love to have like the Pearl Demon.
Right. Okay.
I would love that. You know, DWs are fantastic.
DWs are listen, man. I played a Pro DW. It's like their top of the line $1,000 pedal.
9,000. Yeah.
No. There's one beyond it.
Really?
And when we did the Is for Lovers Festival in Wichita, I got to play it. It's the best pedal I've ever played in my life. I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you, but it's the craziest pedal I've ever played. And that one's crazy. Axis also has like crazy pedals. Yeah. But right now I'm on an Iron Cobra 600. I had to buy it because it was gold.
Cobra.
Tama Iron Cobra. Of course. All Tama, my friend. Good for you. Honestly, so for me, there's 2 drum kits that are the most beautiful thing. The Babinga Wood Tama Star Classic is
nice.
one of the most, it's like it's like fucking furniture. It's incredible.
Super
And then
warm sounding.
Beautiful. And Pearl back in the day had this beautiful little jazz kit, and it was a Studio BLX line. And
Studio BLX?
And what it was an all birch shell. And it was just a little 12-inch rack tom, 14-inch floor tom, 20-inch bass, and a matching snare.
That's pretty
And
good.
they had it in this beautiful dark emerald green finish, but it was a lacquer finish, so you could see the wood grain through it. It's this beautiful dark green. It was gorgeous. Still to this day, one of the kits I've always wanted.
If you can send me a picture of that, I would love that, because Pearl, generally, like growing up in church, like you would either see Yamahas or Pearls. Yeah. And Pearls always sounded good, but I always hated their finishes. So if there's a finish that they
I know
that they
exactly
have,
what you mean by that. I used to sell them. I used to sell them. I know exactly what you mean.
So it's not just me.
No, so it's not you at all.
There's nothing wrong with you, Cola.
I am literally laughing my ass off on the inside right now, because I remember they came out with this stupid finish. It was like white, and it had like swirls. So have you ever seen, do you know the artist Keith Haring?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So
dude, there's an exhibit at the AGO right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course,
I was at the exhibit in LA. I went. Yeah,
nice.
Keith Haring,
in LA.
So if you could picture kind of Keith Haring artwork on a white drum kit, but it was this awkward, really weird, like terrible blue that the outlines of all of these things were drawn in, and it wasn't good looking like Keith Haring artwork. It was just completely nonsensical. And I just remember looking at the salesperson who brought this kit in, and he sets it up for me, a 10 and 12 inch 16-inch floor tom, 22-inch kick, and a matching snare. And I literally looked at him and I said, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass him, but I literally said, that is the ugliest fucking drum kit I've ever seen in my life. And I won't say his name because he could get in trouble. He looked at me and he's like, I know. Shoot, it's fucking awful. And I was like, I'm not going to sell it. This is a piece of shit. Like, why would they even think of that? Anyway, you know what's funny about me telling that little story there? I swore 4 times, and to be honest with you, Cola, at the top of the program, you're like, so is language allowed just in case I slip up? You've only said 1 F-bomb.
Okay.
So you're good. You're good, my friend. I've been swearing like a fucking trucker. So.
Oh man. Whoa. Well, fuck.
There it is.
Now
there
it is. That just sounded awkward now.
That's the mic drop. There's the mic drop. Perfect. Honestly, my friend Cola, you're a proper awesome dude, man. This has been so much fun. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I kind of feel bad. I remember you telling me it was going to be a half an hour, and now it's just like I'm keeping you guys.
We're loving this. We're loving this.
Like I told you, I'm not joking when I could talk to you for another hour. I'm not joking.
Man.
But before we let you go and we play Same.
Yeah.
You were talking about like the bigness of the new material, and it's like Same is a big song. Is like so is that kind of like
it's part of the new record.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a harbinger of things to come?
Oh yeah. Like there's a lot of I would say it's a good intro into what's next. But lots of big. You'll hear it. It's you know what? You're gonna hear a lot of it on Friday.
Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I promise you that. You're gonna be like, oh, what is this? Yeah.
Excellent.
Lots of new songs. Like, not to give too much away. Obviously, we're gonna play the ends and a couple of the self-titled tracks. But
anything from Interchorus?
No. Funny you mentioned that. So often when we're going through set lists, Denz is like, we are not gonna play this song. And lo and behold, when showtime comes around, he's like, he'll just start strumming it, and we'll be like, "Oh shit, here we go again!"
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And Joe just asked, he's like, "You sure we're not gonna pull out "Don't Be Stush," which is like probably our most popular song on Interchorus. Like that was like once again, like that was one of the ones in which people knew something special was happening when we hit the stage. So that won't be played. No songs from Intercourse will be played. But man, what a great time! Yeah.
So, all right. Well, so anyway, thank you again so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me, man. You guys are awesome, man. You guys are awesome. I can't say enough great things.
We're gonna listen now to Same, and just telling you, we played this song on our Best of 2022 show.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yo, that means the world. Like seriously, man.
Yeah.
We're very, very we don't take this for granted. You know what I mean? Like we don't take it for granted the fact that people follow us, the fact that people listen to us, the fact that like we definitely don't take any of it for granted, and we're super appreciative, and all we want to do is keep feeding this music to the people. You know? So we're really, really excited about like what's to come. Very excited. And I really, really, really hope that you dig the next iteration of what we got coming.
I'm sure I will.
We're super excited about it. Really excited about it.
I'm sure I will. And
we're gonna
for those who don't have tickets for Friday's show, I feel bad for you.
Oh yeah,
because it's sold out.
It's not only is it sold out, but like I think there's limited tickets at the door, but I don't even think so, to be honest with you. Like, okay, I don't even think so. You could try your luck, but it's not.
Sure,
good.
They could. You know,
they could, but it ain't looking good. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That.
So you might want to go to Danforth Music Hall in May, or the Studio TD in Montreal in May.
Oh yeah.
Try your luck there. But anyway,
we'd love to talk with you again, my friend. So when we know about maybe if you guys are going to be doing a tour or something like that, maybe we can chat with you guys before you head out. So that
definitely. Listen, man, just call me up, like, and I'm there. Just let me know. Like, I had so much fun. Like, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
Like I didn't even get to talk about all the stories about me opening my big fat mouth.
Well, the next time. Next time.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
All right. So these are the OBGMs with Same on Revolution Radio, Canadian as fuck.
Yeah.
Each and every way, sinking in my blood, overthinking feelings.
Oh my God. God, they're just too cool, eh?
I know. That's why I'm going to their show.
No shit, man. You have no idea how jealous I am at the fact that you're going to that show.
This was something I was waiting for, as like I've loved them ever since I heard that song we were talking about, All My Friends. Like when the ends was actually longlisted for the Polaris Prize, and then I saw them open for Death from Above last fall, not this most recent fall, but the one before. And then one of the things I wanted for 2023 was to see the OBGMs headline somewhere.
Yeah.
And I waited and I waited and I waited. And then that announcement came and I hopped on it.
Fantastic.
And
the show's going to be amazing.
And yeah, and like, and I feel, and I know that I'm smiling, but it's sort of sad for the people who want to go, but didn't get their tickets. You know, it's like, what can I do for you? That's
Colanthony Humphrey is friggin' awesome, man. He's just an awesome guy. So, Cole, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate you joining us.